Welcome to Blackwood. This is David Hayes, National Park Service Ranger. I've worked here for 10 years, a decade. That's long enough to know that what they put in the official handbook is only half the story. The other half is what we never report. Blackwood National Park spans over 3,000 square miles of dense wilderness, high peaks, and canyons few humans have ever breached. People come here looking for silence, looking for beauty, but they don't know that Blackwood has its own set of rules, and those rules are rarely friendly. I work out of Outpost 3, over 50 miles from the nearest town. My job is to ensure law compliance, search for lost hikers, if we still have hope, and handle wildlife reports. My radio code is Unit 32. Most calls are 10-4, acknowledged, 10-19, return to station, or sometimes a 902, nuisance wildlife. But there is one code that doesn't exist on the radio, and that's the one concerning Trail 7. Trail 7 is a dilapidated path that should have been closed years ago. It leads up to Elder Peak, an area notorious for thick fog and extremely treacherous terrain. Officially, we prohibit entry after dark. Unofficially, we prohibit looking at it after dark. The unwritten rule is simple. We do not acknowledge anything unusual that happens on Trail 7. If you see a flickering light there at 03 a.m., it's mist reflecting headlights from far away. If you hear sounds like someone screaming, it's an owl or the wind playing tricks. You write in your log, "No incidents noted." I once asked my old supervisor, a man named Mark, about this rule. He just looked at me, his voice low. "David, this is your job. Maintain order. You are not allowed to change the order here. You just do your job." I kept that rule for 10 years, until last Tuesday night. Tuesday, 23:45. I was reviewing old missing persons case files. Boring work, but necessary. The radio was experiencing heavy static, which usually signals an incoming magnetic storm, but the sky was clear, the stars like diamonds. Suddenly, my radio system was cut by the area dispatcher's voice, clearly strained. "Dispatcher, Unit 32, I have a 1054, search and rescue required, near the boundaries of Trail 7. Check your map. I don't like this." Unit 32, me. 10-4, I'm en route. Give me the details. She provided the family name, the Millers. They were on a long-distance hike, but it placed a satellite 911 call. This is rare, indicating a true emergency. Dispatcher, their report is weird. The mother called. She said they were stranded, and then she started talking about blue lights. Blue lights? Like emergency flares? No, she said, "It's moving. It's not a plane. It's watching us." She was screaming, and then I got the playback of what happened next. This is the part I need you to hear. She played the recording, the woman sobbing, a man trying to sound calm, and then a jarring sound, like shattering glass or rusty metal being dragged. "It's here! Oh God, the blue light! Look at it! It's coming up! Heavy static, a high-pitched squeal, and then a pop, like a mic being physically ripped out. Dispatcher, that's it. Satellite link severed. GPS went dead. They vanished completely from our radar." A chill ran down my spine. I know Trail 7 has electromagnetic quirks, but a full satellite cutoff? I reported the situation to my supervisor, Mike, via a secure landline. His response was immediate and rigid. Supervisor, Mike, listen carefully. Log it as hiking party failed to report location, satellite communication error due to high atmospheric interference. No SAR initiated until first light. Do not send Unit 32 out there, and do not, under any circumstances, include the word lights in your log. Mike's absolute refusal to act, even on a desperate satellite call, hit me hard.
It wasn't incompetence, it was a deeply ingrained cold fear. It confirmed that this rule was more important than the lives of a missing family. I sat in Outpost 3, Unit 32, idle, staring at the map. The coordinates of the last known position of the Millers were blinking menacingly right on the boundary line of Trail 7. Pause. Deep, weary sigh. I did what I was told. I filed the report. I did not acknowledge the lights. But that was the moment the peace in Blackwood ended for me. The thing about unwritten rules is that once they are tested, they either shatter or they become the only thing that matters. And my rule was about to be tested again, very personally.
The next 3 nights were a blur of restless sleep and over-caffeinated patrol runs. The Millers were officially listed as missing, with a minimal search effort focused miles away from Trail 7. The strangeness started subtle. Every night, exactly at 1 a.m., the radio static would spike. It was so regular I started checking my watch for it. It wasn't just noise. Sometimes I'd catch a fragmented sound, not words, just rhythmic low pulses, like something large breathing or a broken record skipping the same 2 notes over and over. One night, while checking a trap camera near the Trail 7 access road, I found something that made my blood run cold. The camera was destroyed, smashed against a rock. The memory card, however, survived. The last image on the card wasn't of a bear or a coyote. It was a close-up, blurry shot of the ground. But surrounding the lens, distinct in the darkness, were footprints. They were huge, easily 3 times the length of my size 12 boot. But the terrifying detail was this: they were completely flat, lacking any discernible arch or heel structure. Not a human print, not a bear, not even a hoof. I cataloged them under unknown large mammal, but my hands shook the entire time I did it. I knew I was documenting something that shouldn't exist.
Wednesday night, 1:30 a.m. I was just about to settle down, filing paperwork and trying to ignore the pulsing static from the radio, when the landline phone rang. The direct line, only connected to dispatch and Supervisor Mike. I picked up immediately. "Ranger Hayes, Outpost 3? Silence. Not dead air, but a heavy, echoing silence, like the call was coming from inside a vast, empty warehouse. "Hello? Dispatch, is that you?" Then I heard it. A child's voice, soft, frightened, and crying. "David?" My heart stopped. I froze. Only Mike and dispatch knew my name. On the radio, I was Unit 32. "Who is this? How do you know my name? Where are you?" The voice started sobbing, harder now. "The lights came. The lights are here. They said you would help me, David." A jolt of icy adrenaline hit me. They knew my name. They, whoever they were, knew I was the one who refused to search. "Who told you that? Listen, tell me your location. Are you a Miller child?" The child didn't answer. Instead, the crying turned into a chilling, distorted laugh. It was too deep, too guttural for a child. "We know. You shouldn't have seen the lights." The phone line went dead with a loud, final click. I stared at the phone. My official log reads, 1:30 a.m., landline communication error, possible line surge due to inclement weather. Checked systems, all operational. The next morning, I confronted Supervisor Mike. "Mike, did anyone call Outpost 3 at 1:30 a.m.? Mike, staring blankly. "No, David, the log is clear. No external calls, no internal check-ins. You need to take a break. You look exhausted." His confirmation, or lack thereof, was the confirmation I needed.
The call hadn't gone through any official channel. It was personal. It was local. And whatever had called me, it was here, in Blackwood, and it knew my name. Thursday night was still and cold. I couldn't sleep. The pressure was building. I needed to see Trail 7. I needed to break the rule. 2:15 a.m. I was in my truck, Unit 32, driving slowly down the old maintenance road that parallels Trail 7, about 5 miles away. I turned off the engine and the lights. Blackwood went silent, save for the frantic beating of my own heart. I was staring into the black woods, straining to see. Nothing. And then it happened. A light. Not one, but 3, appearing simultaneously high up on the ridge of Trail 7. They weren't a steady white like a flare. They were blue, then flashing a disturbing bloody red, then white. They pulsed, not randomly, but in a slow, deliberate rhythm. The cabin of my truck suddenly went dark. The engine was off, but the emergency lights, the dash, everything electrical died. I was plunged into absolute suffocating darkness with only those 3 pulsating alien colors above me. A physical sensation, like a huge hand pressing down on my chest, made me gasp for air. I felt the air pressure drop, and my ears popped painfully. I was gripped by absolute terror, but a part of my professional mind was recording every single detail. It is not fog. It is not headlights. It is 3 distinct points of non-natural light, moving laterally, without sound, defying gravity. They are observing. And then I broke the ultimate rule. I wrote in my secret log, I acknowledged it. For the first time in 10 years, I looked at it and I acknowledged its existence. The lights vanished as quickly as they had appeared. My truck sputtered, the dash lights flickered back on, and the radio crackled back to life. I checked the road ahead with my high beams. Where the lights had been focused, lying directly in the middle of the empty dirt road, was a backpack. It wasn't weathered or dirty. It looked brand new. It didn't belong to the Millers. It belonged to no one I had ever filed a report on. Inside, I found only 2 things, a thermos of cold coffee and a small leather-bound notebook. The notebook was completely blank, all except the very last page.
I drove Unit 32 back to Outpost 3, my hands slick on the steering wheel. I couldn't wait until daylight. The notebook felt strangely warm in my hands. Every page was pristine, blank, except the final one, which was covered in frantic pencil scribbling. It wasn't writing. It was a drawing, a crude, childlike sketch of a man sitting in the cab of a pickup truck. It was me. It was Unit 32. The detail was unsettlingly accurate, down to the small dent on the passenger side door. And above the sketch, written in large, heavy letters, was one sentence. It saw you, David. The thermos of coffee was still cold. I realized the backpack must have been dropped just minutes, perhaps seconds, before I found it. Whoever owned this, they knew my name, they knew my vehicle, and they were watching me break the rule. I understood then. The lights weren't looking for the lost. The lights were confirming who knew about them. Suddenly, the eerie silence of the outpost was shattered. The radio, not the landline, the actual police band radio, came alive. There was no static. It was clear. It was the child's voice from the previous night, but it wasn't crying anymore. It was singing. Child's voice, singing, a slow, simple, repetitive lullaby. Hush now, baby, don't you cry. It was the melody I remembered my mother singing to me, my own lullaby. I looked down at the radio unit. The frequency was set to the secure NPS channel. This was impossible. Child's voice, slowing the words, emphasizing them. David knows the rule. David didn't run.
The lights are coming now. I grabbed my flashlight and stumbled towards the window. I had to see. And there it was, hovering just beyond the perimeter fence of Outpost 3. Not 3 lights, one colossal, silent orb of pulsing blue and red light. It was massive, easily 20 feet wide, and it emitted no sound, no heat. It simply hung there, a massive, unblinking eye staring directly into the outpost. The professional ranger in me vanished. I was just David Hayes, an ordinary man trapped by a rule he had chosen to break. The air pressure dropped again. The glass in the window began to vibrate, and the light grew impossibly bright. I remember dropping the notebook. I remember the smell of ozone, like 1,000 lightning strikes hitting the same spot. I remember the light filling the room, and the sound of the child singing getting louder, closer, until it sounded like it was right inside my skull.
I don't know how long I was out. I woke up on the floor. The outpost was intact. The light was gone. The only thing different was my log. My official log was burned, neatly, page by page, in the incinerator outside. All evidence of the Millers, the footprints, the calls, gone. I filed a new log. Routine patrol. Nothing noted. I understood the rule completely now. It wasn't designed to save the hikers. It was designed to save the rangers from being noticed. But I was noticed. I am concluding this entry. I have destroyed the backpack and this secret notebook. I have done what I was told. I will go back to being Unit 32. But if you are listening to this, and if you are ever in Blackwood, remember one thing. They are here, and they wait for you to break the rule. They wait for you to acknowledge them. And if you see the lights on Trail 7, don't look back.